I am choosing my career over this marriage.
So you're ready to leave your home for 6 good months. And the children?
Manage the kids. I won't allow you to spoil my life because of this thing you call marriage.
Oh really? Your marriage is not worth it?
If choosing your career could cost you your marriage, would you still choose it? If you were Agatha, what would you do? Watch this till the end. A lady was seen talking to her husband in the bedroom. The husband is seated on the bed while the wife sat on a chair pressing her laptop on the desk. She and her husband are discussing on how to get an housemaid to clean the house, cook, and nanny their 2 children. The husband was against it, but the wife begged, saying she can't resign from her job and she needs help to do the house responsibilities for her. After few pleas, the husband agreed to it, but on the condition that the housemaid must not cook his food. Rather, he preferred his wife cook for himself. The wife's name is Agatha, while the husband's name is Felix. The next day, Agatha informed her best friend in the office, Ngozi, that she needs an housemaid. Ngozi requested to help source for the housemaid for Agatha. Agatha was happy. Few weeks later, Ngozi knocked on the door of Agatha's house with a dirty-looking maid named Nkechi. They entered the sitting room and Ngozi introduced Nkechi to Agatha as the new maid she found for her. Agatha was so happy, and without any questioning, she took Nkechi to the guest room. Agatha and her friends spoke for a few more hours and Ngozi left. Felix got back home that night and met the housemaid in the house. Agatha explained to Felix that Nkechi is the new housemaid. Felix nodded his head reluctantly and warned Agatha to be careful. Nkechi, the housemaid, looked so caring. She woke up early to sweep and mop the house. She prepares the children to school, while Agatha prepares the food as instructed by her husband. They kept living in harmony. However, Nkechi began developing feelings for Felix, her madam's husband. Nkechi was seen hiding to take calls and sometimes ends her call with "Yes, ma." One day, Agatha got a job contract that would take her out of the country for 6 months. She told her husband, but Felix, with mixed emotions, asked her how possible will it be for Agatha to leave her small children for 6 months. They argued, and Agatha told him she would rather choose her job over the family anytime, any day. Felix was heartbroken and they both slept with grudge. Agatha woke up the following morning and rushed out to get office without trying to amend things with her husband. The husband, frustrated, decided to call their pastor and tell him of what is happening. That evening, the pastor called Agatha and requested to see her and her husband together in his office. Agatha obliged reluctantly because she was already aware of what the pastor wants to say. However, she had hardened her mind and won't succumb. That evening, the pastor, she and her husband met with the pastor in his office. The pastor counseled them and he implored Agatha to not forsake her home, that she and her husband should find how to balance their home and not let work affect their union. After about 2 hours of intense counseling, Agatha spoke out that she would adjust. The couples left the office, but Agatha was bittered in her heart. She had already decided what she would do in her mind. Agatha got home and she apologized to her husband and she even cooked for Felix. They bonded and had a nice time together that night. Things went smoothly for a few weeks. Then, suddenly, one evening when Felix got back from work, she noticed that Agatha's flight bag wasn't where it used to. Suspicious, he opened the wardrobe and he noticed that some of Agatha's clothes went missing. Confused, he decides to call his wife. Coincidentally, a text message enters Felix's phone, which reads, "My darling husband, I'm sorry, I had to choose my work over my marriage. I have gone for the 6 months course abroad, which will serve as promotion for me." Reading the text, Felix felt heartbroken and he laid weakly on the bed staring at the ceiling. Few minutes after, he went to the children's room and he slept with them on the bed while he sobs quietly. The following morning, Felix tried calling his wife, but it wasn't reachable. After trying countless times, he called Ngozi, his wife's best friend and workmate. Ngozi admitted to not being able to reach Agatha also. Frustrated, Felix dressed up and was on his way to work when the maid ran after him to give him his packed breakfast. In anger, Felix shouted at the maid that has he ever eaten her food before? He warned her to only care for his kids and leave him out of his business. With that, he stormed out to work. Nkechi, the maid, dialed a number on her phone and mumbled, "It's not easy, oh." A feminine voice spoke from the phone that it's a matter of time. Nkechi kept trying every possible means to seduce Felix, but Felix kept ignoring her. However, it's 2 months Agatha left home. She never responded to Felix's calls or messages. One day, Felix was tired from work. He couldn't branch to buy food as he do buy. He decides to order the food online and get it delivered to his house. By the time the order got to his house, he was fast asleep, and Nkechi, the maid, was the one that picked it inside. After collecting it, she smiled. Felix woke up and ate the food hungrily. He went to check his children in their room and he saw Nkechi reading bedtime stories to them. He smiled at them, and for the first time, he thought in his heart that Nkechi isn't bad after all. He closed the door and went back to sleep smiling. The following morning, he knocked on Nkechi's door that she should prepare his breakfast alongside the kids. Nkechi gladly did. As days passed, Felix starts making advances towards Nkechi, and Nkechi succumbed. She moved her belongings to the master bedroom, and she turned herself to the madam of the house. Just a month after they started their affair, a call came through Nkechi's phone one sunny afternoon. The caller spoke loudly and angrily. She said, "This wasn't what we planned, Nkechi." Nkechi smiled mischievously and replied, "No be only you sabi good thing. I don't collect this one. Look elsewhere." 6 months passed and Agatha flew back. She dropped from her Uber and knocked on the gate. The gateman peeped and asked who she was. She was surprised to see a new face as the gateman. She stepped aside unblocked and called her husband. Felix, whom she had blocked 6 months ago, was surprised to see the caller. Reluctantly, he picked her call. Agatha narrated her experience at the gatehouse to Felix, but Felix responded nonchalantly and said he doesn't need her again and she should move on and go marry her career. Reality dawned on Agatha. She starts sweating. Immediately, she took another Uber to Ngozi's house. She narrated her experience to her. Ngozi acted shocked and promised to speak to Felix about it. Agatha had to go lodge at a hotel. The following day, Agatha went to Ngozi's house unannounced, and immediately she got to her door, she could hear Ngozi screaming on top of her lungs saying, "Nkechi, don't try me. We had a deal, and I paid you. The man is mine." Confused, Agatha opened the door on her and Ngozi got shocked and nervously dropped the call. Agatha, with mixed emotions, asked what was going on, and in fury, Ngozi told her that yes, everything Agatha overheard on the phone is true, that only Agatha can't get the good things of life. Ngozi confesses her jealousy and the village spy plot. Agatha, shocked of what she heard, rushed out of the house and went to her pastor's office. Tearfully, she narrated how she had disobeyed her pastor's counsel 6 months ago and the shocking revelations of betrayal from her best friend and maid. The pastor was shocked, but he swallowed all and decides to drive Agatha to her house and speak to her husband. On getting to the gateman refused opening the gate based on Nkechi's order. The pastor drove and parked at a spot very close to the house so as to monitor when Felix drives in. An hour later, Felix was sighted driving towards his gatehouse and the pastor followed. He horned and requested to speak with Felix inside the house. Inside the house, Agatha sat like a stranger beside the pastor. Felix sat on a couch while Nkechi sat beside Felix. She looked scared. The pastor starts apologizing on Agatha's behalf. The pastor suddenly picks in the spirit and he rebukes the spell on Felix. And immediately the scale on his eyes fell. He came back to his senses and he looks at Agatha, Nkechi and the pastor. He suddenly kept asking what was happening. The pastor commanded Nkechi to confess. She also confessed the initial plan of Ngozi, Agatha's best friend. How Ngozi brought her from the village to serve as a spy for her on how they can destroy Agatha's marriage. She also confessed the village substance her mother gave her and how her mother advised her to snatch her madam's husband since he is rich, and how she was able to mix it into the online food order since Felix refused eating her food. The Felix and Agatha broke down in tears. The pastor prayed for the couples and Nkechi was sent packing. Agatha apologized to her husband. Felix also spoke tearful and told Agatha that he has never and will never stop his wife from soaring high. At that spot, the couples thanked the pastor and the couples hugged each other tightly. Felix told Agatha that their kids are at the boarding school. Agatha and Felix agreed to go bring the children back home. Agatha learned her lesson to learn to balance her home with her career and never to lose communication with her husband. Felix promised to keep supporting her big dreams. She should just learn how to balance things.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, follow, like, comment, and share to get more interesting stories.